two niggas spoiling movies. Yeah. Brandon Collins, that's me, and Justin Brown for your movie needs. Medium popcorn. Woo! You haven't seen it, well, we're gonna spoil it. Spoil it in your face. That's your warning. So if you get pissed, it's all your fault. Woo-hoo. Woo-hoo. Slap it up and put it down, everybody. This is Medium Popcorn. I'm Eddie Collins.
Guys, I'm Justin Brown.
And we're Medium Popcorn, and we are reviewing the new Apple TV special. Snoopy presents Welcome Home Franklin, which is crazy that a dog, a fictional character, gets a top billing like he's Tim Burton or some shit. But listen, everybody, a lot of people were tweeting at us. Yep. They're like, yo, I can't wait for Medium Popcorn to talk about Welcome Home Franklin. This is Franklin's first, special. He's in the spotlight now.
Showtime.
They're like, the black guy finally gets his time in the front center of this crazy universe. But guess what, folks? They are having revisionist history. The Schultz family is honeydicking y'all with that trailer because what it doesn't show you, and mind you, this could be happening in the other Apple TV specials. We haven't watched many of them, right? I don't think we watch any of them for the show, at least.
No. This is actually the first one.
Yeah, and so maybe they've diversified. I don't know. But what I do know is when we watch this, Franklin ain't the only black person anymore.
Yeah.
There's several black people, including a black girl that's like front and center a bunch of times.
Everywhere.
She doesn't talk. Mind you, she doesn't talk. We don't know her name. It's probably Lakeisha or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Franklin, it's no longer about Franklin and the otherness. It's Franklin is part of this diverse community, which is crazy.
Well, and that's the crazy thing is because Franklin immediately says, yeah, there isn't a lot of variety here. So he points out that this town is not diverse at all. And he's a military brat. So his father's in the military and he moves around a lot. And that's how he came to this town. But as more you watch this special, you start to think, is Franklin's father on the lam?
I mean, they were in. It seemed like they were in Japan. They were in France. They were like global. Yeah, and they end up in this bumfuck town. And you and Tati are both like, "That's what happens when you're in the military."
But it is.
I get it, but also, I was like, I think to your point, I don't know if Franklin's dad was in the military.
Yeah,
because Franklin's got this notebook from his grandfather. Because his dad's never around, right? The parents are, I mean, it's the Charlie World universe. No parents are around. But they claim that so Franklin's dad has a job that makes him move around a lot. And so that's why he never unpacks his suitcase.
Yes.
And he has this notebook from his grandpa that has all these like words, pieces of advice and stuff like that. But yeah, it'd be funny if his grandfather was like Bumpy Johnson. He's like, now when a nigga take your quarter, you slice him in the throat. Like,
now I'm gonna show you how to make moonshine.
That'd be hilarious. That's like the pages that he didn't get to yet.
All right. To go into the whole thing is Franklin's father really in the military? Why I say that is because now, this is a spoiler alert, guys. Towards the end of the film, Franklin comes in. He's like, "Yeah, my dad got a job." So that means, and Charlie Brown's just like, "That means that you're leaving again." And he's like, "No, he got a job in town." Yeah. So that means that we're staying. And then everybody celebrates because he's not going to move around anymore. But here's the thing: if they moved him around, they already have a job for him in the military. He's already been assigned somewhere. So the fact that he got a job, did they leave the military and then they just decide to settle in this white town? And then he was just looking for a job in the town, which would probably be like a factory job or something like that. Yeah. So that's almost like,
unless he was discharged or something like that, and he was looking for a job in town until they figured something out. But it's not clear.
Yeah, that's weird. What I'm just like, I'm not sure if Franklin truly knows what his daddy is doing.
Well, we also don't know where they fully live, so it's possible. What if he's like in fucking like New Mexico, and his dad's actually working like Area 51 or some shit?
That's true. But again,
Or it's
this military
1950 something. What
no,
if it was like the Oppenheimer
no,
shit?
this is 1968 that Franklin came
Okay,
into the universe.
got it.
So this
Into the
has
universe.
no, well, until Charlie Brown
Yeah, yeah,
universe.
yeah.
So at this time, so what Vietnam went to like 71. So he wasn't in Vietnam. So he was probably in the Korean War and then
Okay,
floated around after that and was stationed in different places. And then boom, here they are.
maybe.
Unless yeah, like it's just
I
none
think.
of this makes sense
Yeah,
to
I
me.
mean, you know what? It would be. You know what sucks is that it kind of like doesn't matter anymore because now like that there's this talent suddenly diversified.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that's what's so weird about it. I didn't even realize how diversified they made it, and I think this is the kind of shit where it's like, yes, show that representation, but at the same time, don't fuck with me when you haven't done that for decades. Just stick to what it is and slowly, gradually build it. Like, I feel like celebrating Franklin getting his first special and then having him surrounded by diversity made no sense. And it makes you think that halfway through this production, maybe they were like, we got to add some diversity. Because
Mm.
him being the only black dude is even more jarring because it is his special.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, at the very beginning, it's one of the first lines, like the first 3 minutes. Like he's going through the town in his car, looking out the window. He sees these white kids eating ice cream and shit, playing hopscotch. He's like, oh, there's no variety here.
Yeah.
And at least acknowledge it when you get to a certain neighborhood, maybe and be like, oh, they're the brown people. You know what I mean? Or something like that. But then at the same time, why, if we're being completely honest, at this time, Franklin immediately is going where the black kids are, or at least where the brown kids are. He's going to try to find that black girl.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, like the other black
Yeah,
kids,
because
or
it's 1968.
he's not immediately going to Linus, who's in the pumpkin patch. You know what I mean? And also, Linus starts ranting about the pumpkin patch, and then and he immediately jumps when Franklin's like, "Hiya." I was like, "Oh, the nigga scared him." But then he goes in a rant about Great Pumpkin. Franklin immediately is like,
Wait, what?
all right," but he's still
Like
willing to give
he
it a
takes
shot.
a step back.
He's
He
still
takes
willing
a
to give it a
step back.
shot though. And then he's like, and then he's like, oh, maybe we can take this pumpkin, offer it to the pumpkin king or whatever the fuck. And then he breaks it off the vine.
Yeah.
Linus freaks out. Is like, the pumpkin man is never gonna believe me now. He's not gonna bless me with his gifts.
Okay, hold on. I need to go back. The Korean War ended in 53. The Vietnam War actually started in 59.
Okay.
So that conflict was, expanded out to 1975. So his dad could have been around in the Vietnam War.
That's why all these kids are fucking
Yeah, that's why
they're
oh, that's the other thing. We learned that
Charlie Brown's dad was in the war.
yeah, and he was a cook in the war.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. No,
No,
he was a barber. He was a barber.
Well, he's a
Dad's
barber in general, but yeah, I'm sure he was a barber in the war.
Yeah, I mean, it only makes sense. That's where he would have learned that skill from, unless he was just a barber before that. But something tells me that's not the case.
I mean, what was so wild about Franklin trying to like, first of all, he's using his grandfather's book uh, for advice on how to break the ice with these white people.
Yeah.
It's like, crack a joke when you're meeting somebody. He's like, what does the ocean say to the person?
No, how does the ocean say hello?
Yeah.
It goes, it waves.
And then Linus is like, uh-huh.
And he's like,
now let me
yeah,
tell you about
okay.
these pumpkins.
I guess that's a good joke.
Yeah. And then Franklin's like, I know a little bit about garden. He's like, oh yeah, nigga boy, come here. But then Linus freaks out. So then Franklin's like, well, that's a lost cause. I wrote down you dodged the bullet there, bro. So don't get too upset.
Yeah, because once Linus gets upset and starts snapping people with that damn whip, I mean his blanket, he's gonna know that Linus ain't his friend.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they made Linus seem fucking nuts in this. Mind you, I don't think there's any scenes really with Linus and Charlie Brown in this, which is kind of weird.
No, well, especially because Charlie Brown points out that Linus is his best friend, but
they did a derby thing, and Linus is nowhere to be found. Linus does the carving of someone else
with Pigpen, with the dirty child.
Oh yeah, the one who's a germaphobe,
a germophile.
That's what Lucy calls him. Who's fucking running her therapy session, gets mad at Franklin because he's asking about some lemonade. Because it doesn't look like she has a lemonade stand.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what child in the suburbs has a psychiatry or a therapy stand? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. People sell lemonade. Not
Yeah.
terrible advice from a young girl.
Let's be real. Lucy would have said some shit about Kool-Aid.
Well, it's not even that. Lucy would have truly said something racist.
Oh, yeah, yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Lucy, like, because Lucy's evil.
Yeah.
She says mean shit throughout this whole special.
Lucy is the girl that was trying to make sure that the schools weren't integrated. Like she was throwing, and Linus was behind her throwing kids. Just
Yeah.
saying,
Throwing pumpkins at black kids.
throwing pumpkins at black kids.
Yeah. That was so wild. Frank was like, Franklin's first question about the pumpkins, like, you gonna make pumpkin pie like a real nigga?
Yeah.
And then Linus like, goodness no, I'm harvesting them for the pumpkin man or whatever the fuck. The great pumpkin.
The pumpkin.
The pumpkin man, the pumpkin king. Who gives a fuck? It's all insane. It's this is the craziest shit. Linus is unhinged.
Yes.
But this whole world is unhinged. That's why it made no sense. The fact that there's more black and brown children, mind you, everybody, there's at least an Asian. There's a few Asians because Indian counts as Asian. Then there's definitely a Spanish kid somewhere.
Yep.
Like the amount of that it actually increased as the special went on. It was wild.
And there was another black kid in there.
Yes.
That will like pass like
well, just walk by and shit like an Alfred Hitchcock cameo.
I'm just like, wait a second. When did this town get so diverse? Because everything that we knew about the Peanuts was that he was the only black kid in town.
That's why he never had lines. That's why he always sat on the other side of the table. That's why he was always nigga jigging according to Justin. That's the phrase he likes to use.
Okay, so let's talk about some of the history.
Okay.
Of Franklin.
Okay.
So
Justin did his Encyclopedia Brown shit.
So after Dr. King was assassinated in 1968, a school teacher named Harriet Glickman actually wrote Schultz, urging him to introduce.
They had a whole government out.
Yeah, yeah, had him to urging him to introduce a black character into Peanuts. So he wrote back saying that he thought about this and was afraid of patronizing our Negro friends. That's a quote from him. This began a correspondence between Schultz and Glickman, which led to Schultz's creation of Franklin. So in 1997, Schultz talked about receiving a letter from a Southern editor, because as you all know, this was in the newspapers and things like that. And this editor said to him, I don't mind you having a black character, but please don't show them in school together. And this is because Schultz had a scene where Franklin was sitting in front of Peppermint Patty. So he's like, I didn't even answer him. And then, he just, went on to just, writing Franklin.
Because he's like, Franklin better not fucking these white shit, these white angels.
Well, no, because the schools weren't, this was just around the integration of schools.
For sure. That's why when I saw the black girl front and center, I was like, is she Ruby Sparks? Like, who the fuck is that?
Yeah, well, what's going on?
Ruby here? Bridges.
So
Ruby Sparks, I think is
Jordan Sparks is a little sister. So
Ruby Sparks is the name of a movie with Paul Dano. I fucked up.
Okay.
Drill Black History, everybody.
So in the Charlie Brown dictionary, it's like a picture dictionary for everybody. He referred to Franklin as being black and showing a picture of him talking on the telephone where the color of the telephone is black. The description also says that black may also refer to Franklin's skin tone, which is also known as a Negro person.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So this is where this character, these are the roots of this character. And again, Charlie Brown's been around since the 50s, but Franklin actually came onto the scene in 1968. And again, that was 11 days after 11 days after Martin Luther King's assassination, when he received a letter from a school teacher, Harry Glickman, who was just like, hey, I think it's time.
See, this is the stuff. And like, I don't want to like say this is like in the category, like the way that white people use woke. I don't want to like go that direction, but this revisionist history is very upsetting.
Yeah.
Because it took, as a consumer of Peanuts for all my life, it took me a lot. It's like with any like great pop culture thing that we're fans of, where we have to accept like there's only one black character, like Star Wars.
Yeah.
Lando Calrissian, only black character for a long fucking time. You know what I mean? And then to suddenly be like, there's a lot of black people in this universe. You're like, what the fuck just happened? You know what I mean? Because it's like, all right.
But where?
Yeah, because you're like, okay, I appreciate maybe the effort, but you got to like you got to make it at least true to the world.
Yeah.
I think that's where I get fucked up.
Mm.
Like, because I'm like, okay, I can accept that there would be more diversity as they're making this for modern families and children. But at the same time, you got to still connect to the core audience who, for this special, seeing this was a moment where people were like, oh shit, like finally get to put the spotlight on Franklin as the sole black person and talk about his experience being in this neighborhood. Cause it's like Franklin moved into the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So you're pausing. They didn't establish that this is a full reboot of Peanuts, right? So unless you do that, it's very disingenuous in a way for you just to show up, like push play on this thing, and then Franklin does say, "Oh, not much variety," and then out of nowhere, there's black and brown children everywhere.
Everywhere.
Mind you, though, none of them are part of the main characters still.
Yeah. Well, one kid who was the one who was doing the announcement at the soapbox car race,
Mhm.
he was, a person of color.
Yeah.
It's like that's the only person that had a line throughout this entire thing.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, but again, going back to excuse me, Lucy being a fucking psychopath. Yo, at one point when Franklin and Charlie Brown team up to do the soapbox car. Oh, we got to talk about when they meet. So Charlie Brown, they meet at the beach. Charlie Brown, mad pale. Again, I have no idea where they live because the fucking environmental temperatures and shit just don't make any sense, right? Like it's insane. Also, we find out that Peppermint Patty apparently has sisters. They look like mini Peppermint Patties. It's fucking weird. I don't know what's going on. Maybe we got to start at the beginning of the Apple TV,
Now,
whatever the fuck they were doing.
hold on. Now, mind you, we don't know if those were Peppermint Patty's sisters. They were just these girls that looked just like her.
Yeah, I mean, come
Yeah.
on, they were.
But like it looked like she has like younger twin
Yeah.
sisters or something like
And
that.
especially back then when people were fucking, they were fucking, and they were having a lot of kids.
It's truth. But so just just to put it out there, this is supposed the Peanuts town, whatever, is set in Minneapolis.
Okay.
So this is supposed to be in Minneapolis or some place outside of Minneapolis, a big city.
Yeah, if this is Minneapolis back in 1968, like I said, Franklin not immediately going. His first target, his first person that he's trying to impress in this new town is not going to be a balding white kid in a pumpkin patch. You know what I mean? Like that would be red flag central.
Well, but that's the other thing is just like if he's in Minneapolis, that means that most likely he would live on the other side of the tracks with with the other black
kids.
people.
Yeah. I also think he had money. Which it looked like he moved into a nice house.
Well, I mean,
but then you're gonna have white people looking out the window like, who them?
Yeah,
and look at that show them.
But at the same time, Brandon, when he first meets Charlie Brown on the beach and they're playing together, it seems like 5 minutes later, all of a sudden Charlie Brown's mom calls him. He goes running off. It's like that could have very well have been like hey, who's that kid that you were talking to?
Mm-hmm.
Did he say where his parents live?
Yeah.
Like, is he from around here? Is he from the other side of town?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like there would have definitely been some questions or apprehension in the kids actually talking with Franklin, because again, this is 1968.
Yeah.
The Black Panther Party happened, started popping up around. It's like white people were afraid of black folks.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So
we still are.
Oh, yes. But this was at the height of fear at this point because we were radicalized, monsters.
Oh, yeah. Based on like this cast now, they could definitely do an animated Peanuts version of Roll Thunder, Hear My Cry if they wanted to. They could. This shit is crazy at this point. And so what gets the ball rolling is the kids are all like this at this like it's like a diner kind of thing. And then these two white kids come crashing down the street in a soapbox car. They almost kill a bunch of kids. And then they're like, oh yeah, because we got that competition coming up where the winner gets a pizza party or some shit. And then that's when all the kids start pairing up. And then Franklin and Charlie Brown, because they're like the only ones left without a partner, they get together. Everyone's shitting on Charlie Brown. Like he just can't catch a break. He's also like Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown he is the kind of kid you want to give a chance, and then everyone hung out with one kid like this. The kid you want to give a chance because he seems nice enough, or they seem nice enough.
Seems like a nice
You hang out
guy.
with them, and then they do something really fucking weird. You're never going to say what it is because you don't want to make their life worse. You know what I mean? You're not going to
Yep.
gossip about what it was,
Mm-hmm.
but you're like, I can't hang out with you again. But I'm also going to let you continue living life without me outing this crazy shit that you did.
Mm-hmm.
You know
Okay.
what I mean?
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
So just I feel bad, but that's who Charlie Brown is.
Charlie Brown, he is literally the pariah of Minneapolis.
I mean, you pointed out that all the kids are going to like wood shops and shit to get equipment for their soapbox, and Charlie Brown went to the junkyard.
Yeah. And he
How
comes
does
back.
Snoopy have a better car than him? Snoopy's got a rocket.
Brandon, again, they're making soapbox cars. They're going to race them down the hill. So, you know, all
Yeah.
about gravity and all that kind of stuff. But so Charlie Brown comes with like, you know, an office chair wheels the front
Yes.
of the
Yeah.
soapbox car. Like the ones like like oscillating wheels. And like for instance, like, yeah, I don't think that these are gonna work. And I'm like, if I was Franklin, I'd be like, oh, she was right.
Yeah.
This kid's out of his damn mind.
And then, meanwhile, as they're getting to know each other, Franklin ends up educating Charlie Brown about black shit.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
let me tell you about the Negro Leagues, Jackie Robinson. And then he starts playing jazz. And then I wrote down two special boys just dancing to jazz.
Yeah. And I mean, and Franklin is sitting there just like, bap, 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 fucking straight up rerunning it. I'm just like, oh God, what's happening right now? What's happening on TV at this time?
I don't think so. In 19,
No, that was the 70s. I'm pretty
yeah,
sure it was the 70s.
yeah.
But yeah, this was, oh boy.
We did learn that Franklin wants to be an astronaut.
Yeah. Sorry, Franklin, ain't gonna happen.
Well, I mean, he loves speed because when they're going down that hill, either he loves speed or he wants to die. Because he's just like, fuck this down. This is the only friend I can make.
Don't you put your foot on that brake, Charlie Brown. Lay off the
When
brake.
they do that, they do a test run. And what's the car called? Unstoppable or something?
Yes, unstoppable.
And they just race it down like almost the fucking things in flames. That's how fast they're going.
Yeah.
And then Charlie Brown's like, his teeth are chattering and shit. He's like, I gotta pull the brake. And Frank's like, don't you do it. And let's see how fast this bad boy can go.
Don't nobody touch a black man's brake.
And so they fucking shoot out the car. I did write down Franklin would have died in that box car. He don't give a fuck anymore.
Listen, man, I'm gonna tell you right now, Franklin, like, all right, I wonder when he realized that, you know, Charlie Brown is a bad idea. Because, like, for me,
yeah.
it would have been when he showed up with those oscillating wheels.
Oh, I mean, yeah. Like, well,
because you know, I'm gonna give somebody a
Yeah.
chance. You know what I'm saying? Because I've had some of those friends.
Yeah.
Right. But there's a point where you just look at you just like, oh, this child's special.
I think when they were talking about black shit, and Charlie Brown's just like, "Gee, golly, I had no idea."
Well, no,
that's
it's a sign of the
yeah,
times, and it's also it's just like, you know, Charlie Brown knows no other black people. Well, I guess we now
you should apparently,
yeah, as that's been turned on his head because
Yeah.
apparently there's all these black people around in town, but like seemingly Charlie Brown would have no other experience with black kids.
yeah,
And like to the point where he's just like, yeah, you ever heard like James? Like he asked what kind of music he likes. He's like, there's a little Richard. I love me some James Brown. It's like, hey, you related to James Brown? It's like, no, he made that quick joke.
Oh no, he asked about Lance Armstrong.
No,
because Franklin's last name is Armstrong.
Well, no, then Charlie Brown made that joke later on, which
yeah.
was a callback to Franklin's joke about James Brown.
Got it. Yeah, I hated their dynamic because I saw what they were trying to do, and I was like, why are they? It would have been more interesting pair Franklin up with someone else.
To give somebody else some shit.
Pair Franklin up with somebody else. Make it because Charlie Brown is, like you said, is such a pariah. It's like the Valentine's Day episode where Charlie Brown and Franklin are the only ones that only got Franklin only got 2 Valentines, and Charlie Brown got none. But they were the bottom of the pack in regards to getting it. Like they're always like Franklin's always at the same level as Charlie Brown.
Yeah,
like at least like pair Franklin up with Linus.
But hold on, who are they going to pair him up with? Because
Schroeder. That could have been a musical episode.
They're not going to give him Schroeder, not going to give him Linus, because Schroeder's attached to Lucy, and Linus obviously Charlie Brown.
Yeah,
they give him Pigpen.
Well, that's what I
Him and
immediately. Yeah.
him and the dirty child. The
Well,
black child, the
they
dirty
probably
child.
definitely considered it, and they're like, it has to be Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown's our main hook into this.
So, all right. So and this is the thing. By pairing him with Charlie Brown and like the way this thing kind of played
Yeah.
in this film, it almost made it like, oh, Charlie Brown and Franklin, they're so much alike, but they're
Yes.
not.
Yeah.
They're not alike because Franklin is far more aware than a lot of people are in
Yes.
town,
Yes.
and he's far more, I guess, like cultured and worldly.
Mhm.
And Charlie Brown, Charlie Brown is just
He's a
like
simple man.
he's a buffoon. I mean, like he's a
I don't think
of
he's a
this,
buffoon. I think he's just a simple guy.
but the way that he's written, the way that he's played, he's a buffoon.
Well, I mean, he does say good grief a lot.
Well, no, bro. He tries to kick a football on a regular, gets yanked out from under him, and he
Yes.
goes flying in the air and gets a concussion.
Yes. Yes.
Charlie Brown is a buffoon, and he keeps on falling for
Yeah.
it.
Mind you, we open with during the race at the end, and then they're flying in the air. Him and Franklin and Charlie Brown are flying in the air, freeze frame, and then we get a Franklin voiceover. Want to know how I got in this situation? And it's just like,
Hey, I'm Franklin.
yeah. I wrote down that Franklin's journey into this town is every black person's experience onboarding into a predominantly white workplace. Because the onus is on them to make
Yeah.
everyone around them feel comfortable
Or if you are
and to get to,
or if you went to a white school.
yep.
Yep. Or you live in an area which is majority white.
That is actually, what's crazy about that, especially in 1968? They need to be real and have a bully in here.
Yes.
Have like a character. It could
Yes.
be. It could even be like a similar character to those fucking kids in the Race for Your Life Charlie Brown shit.
Yes.
They need to have a bully kid
Yes.
because that's what's going to happen. But again, with the diversity, it's kind of like weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the thing is they kind of hindered themselves from going deep enough with the character and doing some real shit because they added so much diversity, which is so they could have done a tag at the end where a bunch of black and brown people started moving into town.
Exactly.
And they're like, oh shit, the neighborhood's changing. They could have done a quick gag like that. And that's what introduces you. Oh, this is diverse now.
Well, and that's the thing. If they did that, they'd have been like, hey, Franklin was on the forefront of like kind of integrating this town. He was these kids' the first black kid that they ever met. And then the first kid that they learn, and these kids are basically the first ones to learn acceptance in Minneapolis or in this town,
whatever it is,
outside of Minneapolis, which then opens us just like, yeah. And and as the years went on, more people like me started to move in, and and my friends groups just expanded or something like that. I think that's the story that I think that we all expected.
Yep.
But then once you all of a sudden just have all these black faces who are seemingly there before him, it kind of pulls all the wind from the sails of Franklin, because what is he special to the Peanuts now anymore?
Yeah. I have a feeling that maybe, I mean, when we looked at the credits, there's only one black writer.
Yeah.
And he's an animator. So I don't even know how much he actually wrote.
Yeah.
But it's possible that they had a draft where they got real, where it was like, like it could have still been like G Go Lucky and shit, but like he was still the only black character, and like they touched on a little bit deeper on a deeper level and stuff. And then I wonder what happened. I wonder if it's like I'm very curious or if this is the plan the whole time because
Brandon, we live in a country that's never been racist. That's what happened.
True.
That's what happened. The people, they probably wanted to play it safe because they didn't want to make certain people feel uncomfortable about this, and so they watered it down. They watered the shit out of this. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah,
which is
they watered the plant so much that it's drowning.
So this is the thing. I saw the trailer, and I reached out to you. I was like, yeah, we got to do this, especially because of the scene. Now, if you listen to our review of Happy Thanksgiving, Charlie Brown, or It's Thanksgiving, whatever it is,
Charlie Brown Thanksgiving. We release it every year, so people have heard it. Yeah.
So in the shot where they're actually having a Thanksgiving dinner, all the white kids are sitting on one side of the table, and Franklin's
in that broken ass chair.
He's sitting on a lawn chair on the other side of the table by himself.
Yes, yes.
So like, and to the editor in a Southern editor, they basically gave that guy exactly what he wanted. They basically, kind of like, white
Segregated.
side, yeah, this segregated whites
Yeah.
only, the white side only. So they actually fixed that in this film. They made a special reference to that where Franklin sits at a table
He's
at
about
their
to sit
pizza
on
shop
across from them.
and he's sitting across from them, and it's only him sitting over there on a chair on his own. And they invite him over, like, "Hey, we saved you a seat over
Yeah.
here," and he gets to sit next to them, and now he's like with everybody, which great. It was a great scene, and it's like a great way for them to call out
Yeah.
what they did. So, like in my mind, I was like, "Oh, this is something we have to see," especially since we referenced that
Yes. Yep.
on yeah, as many other people did,
For sure.
on our episode. But like you said, they honey dicked us
Yeah.
because we thought that we were going to see people be like, "Hey, you know what? We screwed up in the past. This should have never happened, and we're gonna fix it." They basically revised the whole thing. It's like, "Hey guys, that wasn't the case."
You know what's weird when a room full of black and brown people are watching this special together, and a black female character pops up, and we were all like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Like that was a universal reaction we had,
Yes.
which I'm sure the creators are like, "Wait, what? That's a problem?" Like, but it's I get it. It's when you're, I think, especially because some of the Schultzes, I guess, are involved in this. I think when you're so close to it, you have and if you don't have a diverse circle around you, you don't understand again how people have interpreted the art and how people have settled with it.
And what this character means.
Yes, and it's like now it's weird. It's frustrating because you're like it's not Franklin's story. It's just he's just a character that's getting his own special, but it doesn't mean anything now. It's not special. Like the Marcy special, I've heard that's good because it talks about her neurodiversity
Mm.
and it really hones into that. It's like because everyone's kind of like Marcy's a little like what's going on with Marcy, right?
Yeah.
She's incredibly smart and but what's going on there? And then like that special, I guess, talks about it, right?
Yeah.
So for this to like be honing in on Franklin, but then it's like he's part of this very diverse world, which mind you, it still feels segregated because none of those other characters are integrated into the main group still.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, what are you trying to say then?
Even though, no, I don't know who that other girl. There's another girl. She's, obviously she's not Lucy, but she's very Lucy-like. The black girl was like sitting with her. Actually, and no, she was actually sitting at the same table with Lucy when she was talking shit about Franklin.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
So like
that's
technically she's
all those
adjacent, but she's not because especially if they don't have a name, they're not part of the main group. That's just the way it is. Yeah.
Let's be real. All the black kids would have sat together. They would have been like, this is some crazy shit.
Exactly.
And we're also not doing this soapbox shit.
Well, so no, they may have done the soapbox thing.
Well, I don't know. The weight of those
that shit.
The way that those white kids were just speeding down that street, I would have been like, nope.
I mean,
especially no adult supervision.
Listen, none of the black kids would have won it.
No,
because their shit would have got sabotaged or destroyed.
Oh, for sure.
But
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like there would be a bully character. If in Race for Your Charlie Brown, those niggas were actively trying to kill those kids. There's definitely one like Sid looking motherfucker from Toy Story who's trying to take Franklin down.
Yeah, for no reason.
You know what I mean?
I mean, we know the reason. Yes. We know the reason.
It would have been crazy if it was Charlie Brown, self-sabotage. the enemies from within. But, I mean that okay. They get in an argument. Franklin and Charlie Brown, they do that test run. Franklin goes crazy, immediately blames Charlie Brown. Franklin gets cold as fuck when he tells Charlie Brown, that girl at the lemonade stand was right about you. And then Charlie Brown's like, wait, what?
Wait, who at the lemonade stand? You know who I'm talking about. He basically gave him a look. Charlie Brown's like, I guess I'm just gonna go home. He's like, I think that's best.
He's like, the town thinks you're stupid. But then I guess later that night, Franklin has to change of heart, goes out to the woods where they left their soapbox. And then Charlie, first of all,
seems in worse wear than it was when they left it. So somebody came around and said, "Oh, box right here. Let's fuck it up, guys."
Yeah, someone probably peed on it and shit.
Oh gosh.
But then a flashlight shines on Franklin. Mind you, it's the middle of the night in the woods.
Yeah.
In 1968.
Yeah,
and he's
good.
a black kid. Yeah, it was like not good. And the dude, the shadow has a hat on, So it's like a white dude just going around with a gun, probably looking for some shit, and revealed to be Charlie Brown, of course. But
You gotta pass to be out here, boy.
it's, so then they decide to work together again to build the soapbox. During the montage, Tati was like, "All this for some pizza?" She's like, "This is stupid."
Well, I mean, it meant more for Franklin because this was Franklin's way, or so he thought, as a
Um,
basically winning
yeah.
favor of the kids in the town. He's like, if I because this came come from his grandfather's book. It's like if everyone loves a winner, so
Mm.
it showed him that you're a winner. So he's just like, if I win this race, then everyone will look at me like I'll impress everybody, and they'll then everybody will want to hang with me and invite me into the group. So
Yeah,
this
but
whole story, I'm sorry, but the whole story is basically about him just trying to fit in and just doing anything to just be part of everybody else, which again is a compelling story,
yes,
especially as a young black kid in 1968. But
in
the
an all
fact,
white space, but it's not that anymore.
but without them, with them basically pulling the rug from under that, and this is like, oh, race doesn't exist here.
Yeah.
This race issue doesn't exist here. It kind of just makes things really shitty.
Yeah, because in a way, Franklin's just another kid.
Yeah,
Like the whole thing with him talking about the Negro Leagues and stuff like that, that shouldn't really be a thing if like this town's as diverse as it looks, because they would definitely be talking about some shit during Black History Month at the very least.
unless Brandon, unless little did we know was that Charlie Brown and his whole gang, they were poor kids. They were poor white kids that
Mm.
lived in the black community, and they just focused on them.
I mean, it's possible, you know.
But again, Brandon, we would still have seen a few of these black kids.
Oh, for
And
sure.
also, if they were the poor white kids that went to like the black schools, because that's where they were zoned for. Well, no, technically not, because they would have. No, the schools were desegregated in the 50s, correct?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because all the specials we've seen and everything we've reviewed until this point, it just we would have to like watch the Apple TV shit to see what kind of world they've established
True.
at this point, because I'm curious to see if it's this diverse. And I imagine we would have had some people say, "Oh, like Franklin's not the only black person anymore," or something like that when the trailer came out. And the fact that that didn't happen makes me think that I don't know. Like, this is a very I know folks will keep harping on it, but it was very jarring
Yeah.
to see how many black and brown people are in this show now. And again, they don't really have anything to do. They don't contribute to the story anyway. So it's just new Franklins,
Yeah.
right? If anything, it makes Franklin look like the sellout.
Mm.
You know, he's the bougie black kid.
Who just wants to hang with the whites.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I couldn't bring it up in my mind, but schools were desegregated in 1954.
Okay.
So, yeah, so like this is far in 14
Yeah.
years, so it shouldn't be an issue. But like,
Yeah.
it's just, but Charlie Brown, there were no black kids before that, and all of a sudden here they are.
Yep. Can we talk real quick about the race itself
Yeah.
and all the kids? And there's different soapboxes. Peppermint Patty's got a fucking monster truck. Snoopy's got a space rocket with like a bunch of birds working in the back, and
Mm-hmm.
they working on a rocket that propels them and shit. Again, I don't know how Snoopy's able to one afford the equipment that he has, and two be able to compete in a race for children.
Yeah.
Um,
Snoopy's fucking Oppenheimer.
yeah, and then at one point, uh, Charlie Brown's like the Franklin who's driving. Hey, just trust the curve. Don't pull the brake. And then Franklin's like, "Yeah, sure, Charlie Brown's like, yeah, trust me." And then you shout it out, "Don't do that."
Charlie Brown's the last person you want to trust.
Yeah. Like, folks, if you haven't heard it, it's on our Patreon. Check out our review on Race for Your Life, Charlie Brown,
Ooh.
as one of the funniest fails ever in Charlie Brown history, besides the lack of Valentines. that's, that's still like my Twitter background. The mailbox,
Yeah.
it's such a crazy.
With his suitcase. I'm gonna get all these Valentines. Oh, baby.
Folks, if you haven't seen Be My Valentine, Charlie Brown, long story short is Charlie Brown thinks he's going to get all the Valentines. And so he takes a suitcase to school. I'm still tearing up laughing thinking about it. And he's just walking with a suitcase. And he gets no Valentine's. Not even from his best friend.
Nope.
Nobody.
Damn.
Linus isn't his best friend.
No, Linus is his op. He's the op, man.
Yes.
He really is.
But then okay, so going back to Charlie Brown's instructions though, uh because Franklin follows his direction, they end up Tokyo drifting
Yes.
and almost winning the race until Sally accidentally, I'm doing that in quotes, knocks over an ice cream truck that goes into the middle of the fucking lane.
A cart.
Cart or whatever.
Yeah,
And then
she's a fucking Hulk. Ah, my babu.
and so in order to save the other kids, they intentionally crash into the carts and knock
he
it off the course.
sacrifices himself.
Yeah.
So the black kid sacrificed himself for the whites.
And then they all pass them.
Yep.
Well, they go flying in the air and get all fucked up.
Yeah.
The car gets fucked up. They all pass them. Lucy wins and shit. And then they inspire each other to carry their cart to the finish line. And they come over the hill like fucking Cool Runnings. And all the kids are like, wait, is that Charlie Brown, the black kid? And then
No,
like
the new kid. The
Yeah,
new kid. They don't call him the black kid.
and then Marcy slowly she starts to slow clap as they're struggling to walk the car to the finish line. Nobody helps them.
Mm-hmm.
They even drop it at one point because it's so fucking heavy.
Yep.
And they're just like, you guys got it.
Don't give up. Don't give up, you coon cricket.
Jesus. And then they start, cheering for them once they get to the finish line. And then Franklin's like, are they cheering for us? And Charlie Brown's like, finally, I get some type of accolades. And then Franklin's like, how much of a loser are you? That didn't happen, but that definitely should have been that should have been the dialogue. And so then they go to celebrate at the pizza spot. Snoopy is dressed up as Joe Cool by the jukebox.
Yeah, playing Coltrane.
Yo, he looked like a pedophile. He looked like an old nigga that knew that that's where the youngins hang out, and he put on a sweater and some sunglasses.
Looking
and
like the Fonz.
And wouldn't stop smiling. Yeah, when Snoopy, I used to think Joe Cool was kind of fun. As an adult, Joe Cool is one of the most unsettling side characters ever.
Listen, if I saw a dog or just a little boy or a slightly older boy, because technically Snoopy is a dog, so he's definitely older than them in dog years. With sunglasses on and a leather jacket, hanging out by the jukebox with my kids, we're shooting that thing. I don't know what's going on.
He's thinking,
I know it's gonna stop.
He's hanging out by the table, just that big ass smile on you, like I don't like
it. Nope. It's over. Bang bang.
That dog has to go down. Yeah. Luckily, this special is only 40 minutes, folks, so it's quick to the point. Which the point kind of gets lost because it's weird because they start off, and I think this is where like it had to have changed in production halfway through something because it starts off like I'm the new kid, but also wink wink, I'm the new black kid.
Yeah.
Like I'm the new kid who also happens to be black. And so we're gonna kind of touch on that, but mostly we're using me as the new kid to explore these different themes.
Yeah.
And then once you start seeing diversity, you're like, well, what?
Yeah. They honey dicked us.
Yeah.
We thought that we were gonna see something that was like, oh shit. And it's also they put it out during Black History Month.
Yes.
He's historically the only black character in the Peanuts crew. And like that's what we're here for.
Mm-hmm.
Black people were excited for this. And then you basically just change it. It's like, no, he's not the only black kid. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Yeah. Just to break down our race system, baby.
Stop calling me baby. So, guys, you know how
I just called you baby for the first time.
To stop calling me baby. And you did not call me baby for the first time. Don't you do that. Guys, you know how we do this. We rate movies bags of popcorn, small, medium, large, and the XL for the exceptional. If a film doesn't deserve any popcorn, we throw it into the dog shit pile. We pile piles and piles of dog shit on top of it. So, Brandon, we sat down. We watched Snoopy Presents Welcome Home, Franklin. A 2024 Black History Month TV special based around Franklin, our favorite Negro boy. What say you, Brandon?
I'm giving this a small. It's not terrible, and there are some moments where I chuckled or I smiled, and the animation looks really good. I like kind
Mm,
of how they've modernized the old aesthetic.
mm.
The voice acting was pretty solid, but again, it's just a long time. I don't even want to say fan of the characters because I've never known the character deep enough to be a fan.
Yeah, they never gave us anything.
But just see having that representation and finally be the focal point after all this time, and this is what we get is very, very disappointing.
Yeah.
Very disappointing because then it doesn't really mean anything. It's very performative.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Versus actually going deep and exploring what it's like to be a new black kid in this neighborhood and how you kind of find your footing and being accepted. If they have fully done that, and then we ended on him being embraced, like you said, on the other side of the table to make up for like that Charlie Brown Thanksgiving shit, that would have been powerful. That would have made me like, man, I gotta start watching these again and stuff like that. Now I only want to watch to be like, did they have diversity from the beginning when they started this Apple TV shit?
Mm.
Because then if they did, it's interesting because I'm, if I were a kid now, let's say I was 10 years old and I watched the special, I might be like, that was cool, right? If I already watched the series, like the very specials, and it was this diverse, I might be like, oh, it's just like, Franklin's the new kid.
Mm.
But then I don't care about Franklin, the significance of Franklin, because I've already seen all the diversity around Franklin.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
Yeah. It's
But I guess you could say the same about any of the white characters. If they want to focus on Linus or they want to focus on Lucy, it's like all the other characters are white. So it's just another story about this particular theme.
yeah.
So I
Yeah, but
guess
but
maybe
those
that's what they're trying to do
yeah,
with
but
this.
those are all well fleshed out
Yeah.
characters who have, decades on screen,
Sure.
things that you could work off. This is the one character who we really have nothing on.
Nope.
Like we know more about Pigpen. We know just as much about Pigpen that we do Franklin. And
Yep.
yes, Pigpen was around beforehand, but Pigpen has a shtick. He's dirty. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
which I
saying?
don't understand. Like,
So actually,
how was he
which
able to navigate life? Like, they wouldn't let him in this pizzeria.
Well, yeah. Well, hold on. Let me finish that thought though. Pigpen is dirty. Franklin is black.
Yes.
That's only like they're on the same level in Peanuts, but Pigpen's just been around longer.
Mhm.
Like that's what the Peanuts has been, and it was always have been.
Yeah.
And that says a lot, and that's why what they did here for me only deserves a small as well because it's very disingenuous.
Mhm.
It's just very disingenuous, and all the points you made, I echo the same thing, so I don't necessarily want to repeat everything that you said, but they really missed the mark on here, and like I was looking forward to more
Yeah.
out of this, and then seeing how they kind of backpedaled on really telling a compelling story about a character who every
Yeah.
black person who's ever seen Peanuts has
Yeah.
always wondered about, and has been jokes on SNL, jokes in many media,
Mhm.
black mediums especially, and they kind of it's just a cop out.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of potential with this. I really think that they could have done something really special and really funny with this. Like, I almost wanted this to be almost like in the tone of a Blackish episode where you have like
Mm.
this fun voiceover and it's this kid navigating this new space that's predominantly white, and he just learns to deal with it in stride and like, makes a few friends, but also knows like, hey, this is gonna be weird, but I'm down for the journey or whatever.
Well,
You know
and
what I
then you
mean?
also got to realize that the way they set it up, they kind of set it up for success because Franklin knows diversity because he's lived in 4 different countries
Yeah.
prior to this, so he's very attuned to being the only black kid in a space, and and just like navigating this, but it's the town that has to learn to navigate him. You know what I'm saying? And then
Yeah.
the other fact is they had an opportunity to really make these kids something special.
Yeah.
And not outside of Franklin, but the rest of the Peanuts cast, because they recognize Franklin for who he is and they take him in, and then again, now you have goodwill from these characters from the
Yes.
50s
Yep.
who people assume it was like, they ain't messing with this kid. They sat him on the other side of the table.
Yep.
And then they bring him into the group and they make him so like it's such a missed opportunity to
And,
do something really special.
and it's also, let's be real. When did that Peanuts movie come out? The CGI one. It came out like 10 something years ago, maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
And Franklin barely had any lines of that, and he was Nigga G.
Yeah.
Okay. So don't try to act like, this has been a thing for like the past 10, 20 plus years or some shit.
Yeah.
It's very, like you said, it's very disingenuous, and we wish it had been better, but there's worse things you could watch. I will say that. And I guess if you have young kids now, it's not the worst thing to watch. It's just, it's not going to be that deep. And, I think that it's frustrating because I think there's a lot of missed opportunities. I don't know what initially the original concept was, but I wish it had just been more. Yeah, but it is what it is. Everybody, make your own decision. But that's a Medium Popcorn's special bonus episode on Welcome Home, Franklin,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which is sure.
Yeah. Sure. Sure.
Yeah,
You're home now.
mm-hmm. Welcome to the neighborhood where we got bald and white kids and a creepy pedophile dog. Why does he keep smiling? Snoopy just shows us he's not even barking, just smiling.
Well, he's not even growling. He's just,
just smiling. And
well, that's the thing. He doesn't even growl. He just goes like he like really creepy.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
very creepy.
For sure. For sure. All right, y'all. Y'all know you can follow me at Frodo_Blackens on Threads and Instagram. You can follow the show at Medium P Podcast on all social media platforms. Be sure to go to youtube.com/Medium P Podcast. Push that subscribe button so you get alert about all future reviews and celebrity interviews we have on the show. And Justin, if you want to follow the show, if people want to support the show financially as well as follow you, my brother, what can they do?
Well, first of all, guys, Jay Brown did it on the socials. But if you want to support this show and continue making this show better and better and better, you guys take yourself on down to patreon.com/medium popcorn.
Yeah,
We have $2, $5, $10, and $15 packages on there. So you'll get all of our bonus episodes, our backlogs, and just more. There's so much on Patreon and you need to be a part of it. And again, take yourself down to patreon.com/medium popcorn.
That's right. Come on down, everybody. Come on down and we'll go down.
What?
We'll go down in your ears.
What?
I don't know. I don't know, y'all. Let's just,
The views of Brandon Collins.
I want some
those.
I want some limit. Yeah, there should have been at least one racist character.
Yeah, had to.
All right, y'all. We'll talk to y'all soon. Happy Black History Month.
Mm-hmm.